Dr. Black, since we talked earlier, you have provided us with a 7-page document that contains some information regarding the modifications that you made to some of these videos. Is that fair to say?
Specifically the 2 videos that you asked me about that we used the monitors. Yes, sir.
One of them was the video number 6, it's observation number 16 on your list. And this was one in which I had asked you earlier if you knew the source of it, and I believe you indicated at the time you didn't know where it came from.
I said I knew that I had it, I just didn't have the exact name. That's
sure. Right. Now that we've got some further information here, do you know where that came from?
Yes, sir, and that would be the, moving by my cursor, the video that is denoted as the N as in Nora de Bruin video -img files.mp4.
And that is Nathan de Bruin?
It's whatever that video says.
Okay. So you don't personally know if that was Nathan de Bruin or who it was, you just have it marked as a file name, basically?
I have it marked as how it was given to me.
Do you know when you got that video? Let me put it this way. Did you get that video since you prepared your preliminary report in July?
I don't know. I can take a look at my other items here and give you a good...
If you could, please.
The video itself would have been with the original discovery, which would have been the evidentiary items reviewed in my preliminary reports. The interview statements of Nathan de Bruin that would have coincided with it would have been in the secondary discovery, which would be in my supplemental report.
And with regard to this video, in the report you gave us since we last talked, it indicates here that you trimmed the video and it indicates you enhanced the levels. So you say you adjusted the contrast to 14.4 and the brightness to 175.1. Am I reading this correctly?
You are reading it correctly. However, if you take a look slightly forward in the report, these are matched estimated values post-production. In other words, I didn't capture it at the exact moment I was working on this and during the last time we talked, and I matched the levels consequently.
What do you mean you matched the levels to what?
To the appearance of the video. In other words, what you're doing is you're adjusting contrast on one side of it, and if you want, I can show that to you.
No, you can just describe it.
That's fine. And you're adjusting brightness on the other. There are 2 slider items, so to speak.
Sure.
One slider goes up from 0 to whatever, the other goes down.
I think we've done this a lot on our own personal cell phones. What I'm wondering is, how did you arrive at those settings for contrast and brightness? What were you comparing them to, or where did you get that from?
The actual video.
So you had a raw video from the source, which had a certain contrast and brightness level?
The video that was given to me, yes, sir. I had a raw video with the...
And then when you did work on that video, you adjusted the contrast and the brightness on your work to try and match the original?
No.
Okay. Misunderstanding.
No, and I'm probably misspeaking. The process on this is I have a video, I cut out the piece I'm going to work on so I don't have it takes a lot of energy or computing power to work on it. It has that amount of frames, and then I process that piece. So that piece of video I run through, in this case, with some very just simple processes, which is I level adjust, which is just simply adjusting the brightness and the contrast to see if I can get more clarity out of it. And then from there, I like what the clarity looks like because I can see a preview of it. Okay, it looks like I can see a little bit more, do whatever. I then put it into a no audio track, as we already discussed earlier, an MP4 file, and I say, it'd be nice if this was a little bit slower so I can make more sense out of it, and I simply adjust the frame rate. If it was 60 and I want it a little bit slower, maybe I'll start at a 10, maybe I'll go down to 6 until I can discern stuff. So that's what I'm describing. Big file original, raw. What was given to me is raw. Extract, same exact speed, no alterations, no nothing. Then the extract, levels enhanced, slowed, frame reduction.
So what I'm getting at is when you have that extract and you're enhancing the levels, you personally are adjusting the brightness and contrast in that extract.
That is absolutely correct.
And you're doing that because you're hoping that by making those adjustments, it'll make things in the video easier to see.
That's fair.
And with regard to the rest of the document you gave us since the last time you testified, you also indicate that you did a similar process with the BG on the scene or BG on the go video, which shows the second set of shootings. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
And again, with that, you adjusted the contrast and the brightness yourself.
Yes, sir.
And you did that because you were trying to make it so that things in that video were easier to see.
Also correct.
Okay. You played for us earlier that video on your computer, broadcast onto our TVs. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And when you played it for us, you had it slowed down to a certain speed. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I thought I heard you say earlier, and maybe I was wrong, I thought you said a quarter speed?
That's what I thought it was. It's actually, and let's make sure we're talking about the right video. Which video are you referring to?
The Brandon Gutenschwager or BG on the scene video. I think this is on the second or maybe third to last page of your most recent document.
Right, so that would be, if you take a look on the original starting out at approximately 60 frames per second, that would be, I guess, page 4. And then it goes from 60, reduced down to 7.5. So the math would be a little bit around 8, down to 1/8.
So the version that you played for us this morning, it was at 1/8 speed?
Approximately, yes.
And is that a new video file that you created using your software?
When it actually changes the frame rate, it produces a different file from that.
That's
Yes.
what I'm asking.
Yes.
So you have a file on your computer that is the BG on the scene video at 1/8 speed. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say it's the BG on the scene video extract, the shortened version at 1/8 speed, or approximately 1/8 speed.
And that's what you played for us earlier?
Yes, sir.
So if we wanted to, for example, we could take that file, mark it as an exhibit, and introduce it into evidence in this case.
Yes, sir.
I would like to do that, Your Honor, with the defense permission.
I have no problem. I would ask that all the videos that you referred to be marked on a hard drive and put into evidence.
I assume that's not something you can do instantaneously. That'll take a little time for us to put them on a hard drive or something along those lines.
If you give me a hard drive, I can do it whatever instantaneous.
We can work on that afterwards. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
When you were working with these videos, did you change anything other than the color and contrast? We've already talked about frame rate, poor question, long day.
Right.
You changed the frame rate
Correct.
on some of them. You changed the color and contrast on some of them, correct?
Well, I didn't change the color, I changed the brightness.
Color. I'll ask it this way, because were any of the frames color added or subtracted?
No, sir.
Okay. When color is added by either the operator or the program, that's called interpolation.
It's a term, but yes.
And those are done through various different ways. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair.
Okay. One of them is bicubic.
That is a type of interpolation, yes.
Okay. Can you name the types of interpolation?
I can name some of them, that especially the ones that this software allows me to be aware of or qualified in.
Go ahead.
The three of them would be For example, nearest neighbor, bilinear, or bicubic are three specific types of interpolation or algorithms used in that. Now, something that should be known about this is these are done primarily when enlargements are being done.
Okay. Now, nearest neighbor, it was the first one. The second one you said?
Bilinear.
Bilinear. And the third?
Bicubic.
Does nearest neighbor change the color composition of something that's blown up or magnified?
No, what nearest neighbor does is it takes existing values within the frame already and uses those existing values to fill it out, so to speak. If I had something that was pitch black here, 100% black, and it said, hey, we need to get bigger, it would fill it out only using that color of black or white or whatever else happens to be within the frame.
Bilinear, does that add colors?
To some degree. In other words, if you had something that was, well, let's just use like a line of blue, and you had a line of red, there would be something that exists between the blue and the red value here that would not necessarily have been there before, so to speak.
So the computer, through its program, fills in the blank, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Bicubic, does that add anything?
Yes, much in the same way as bilinear does, but the difference is, as it sounds, linear is more, think straight lines, and bicubic is if I had something in the middle, it would basically gradually go out to match the other color. So if you were to think about it like a progression, you would start here, and if I have so far to go to get here, it would take a little bit more of each of that color, so you'd have a much more seamless image. You'll get much less jaggedness to it, that type of thing.
And as you sit here today, is there any clip that you could take and just show by moving the bars, color and contrast, what happens? Not color, brightness and contrast, I believe.
Yeah, I can actually.
Could you demonstrate that for the jury? Take one of the standard clips.
And you just want the idea of brightness and contrast, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm not going to change any frame rates, just show it as is?
Correct.
Okay. So what you can see on the screen is these two sliders up here. And I'm going to go down to a place that's got a little bit of something in it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this in that direction, and you'll notice it lightens up. If I were to keep sliding in that direction, it lightens up some more. If I wanted to get a little bit more contrast to it, and then as Mr. Binger has already described, I move them around to a place where I can get hopefully a little better understanding or clarity. And
So what you just did on the slide on the top of the screen, that was doing both of those manipulations?
yes, sir, one from one side, one from the other. Those are the two values in the report.
And so basically what you've done is taken a video that is dark and unrecognizable and turned it into something that's useful.
Yes, sir?
And you haven't added anything to it?
No, I haven't added anything to it, nor has the computer added anything to it. There's no interpolation being done with this other than the lightening and the algorithm for the lightening and the contrast, but there's no additional pixels being added. I'm not affecting the pixel count.
And you did that on some of the videos that we've shown this jury previously?
The two videos that have been demonstrated to this jury that I worked on, that I did the clips from, this is all that I did. There was other videos worked on that I did do enlargement and these type of things. They were done by nearest neighbor lossless. As far as I know, they have not been presented to this jury.
Understood. Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, sir?
You may step down.
Thank you, sir.